I think the resiliency has taught me how to appreciate things. It's given me gratitude. You know, some days, not every day's perfect. Sometimes things are hard. Things don't always go the way you want. But I believe the resiliency or overcoming addiction, and being able to sustain some sobriety long term has not only taught me a lot about myself, but taught me a lot about the people I work with on a day in, day out basis and what they can be going through.
One of the biggest things about being resilient is I can actually be proud of myself nowadays. Before in my addiction, I unfortunately was living a life I always wanted to escape from. Every day was tough, and the only thing I had to look forward to was that drink or drug at the end of the day, and that just compounds the issues that I never faced head on. So just handling each one of those issues in the right way, addressing them appropriately is a major accomplishment for me, and actually proud of myself today. So,
the obstacles that I faced in life, I would not give them up for anything. They've made me a stronger person. Alcoholism is not a fun thing to go through, but I know now that I'm a better person than I was when I was 21 years old, when I was 28 years old, when I was 35 years old. I'm much stronger and more resilient, as you just said.
My name is Nick Correa. I'm 42. I'm from New Bedford, Massachusetts. I work for Heron Wellness. We just celebrated our 5 years in business. I've been working with them since the day we opened. I'm also a strength and conditioning coach. I've been doing that for the past 7 years, 8 years. I also coached college and high school sports for many years. When I got sober, I took 2 years off from coaching because of the intensity that was involved in it and the amount of energy and effort I put into it. I'm a dad, I'm a stepdad, and I'm also engaged to a beautiful woman named Monica who's also been sober for 6 years. And I went away to long-term treatment. And I was gone for about 7 months. And I had to overcome a lot of things, There was a lot of things I had buried deep down inside from the 16-year-old that was drinking beers on a Saturday to hide those emotions of the mirror. I had no job. I had nothing to go back to. It was finally time for me to do this. If I see this person who's 30 days in, I remember what it was like. So when I see the energy and effort and the commitment they're putting into it, it also makes me want to match that and give it back to them.
I'm Colin McCoy. I'm 33 years old. I am actually originally from Virginia. I'm up here in Boston because I was ruining my life, basically. I came to Heron Wellness to get better.
I had a trash bag of clothes, man. Not a dollar to my name. How did it get like that? At what point did something change inside of me? Something that made me want nothing but drugs.
My name is Adam Paget. I am from Kennebunkport, Maine. I was born in Boston, and I am 49 years old. When I first got to Heron Wellness, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was doing. I was completely lost. Nick and all the other employees there helped me find not only who I was, where I wanted to go, and the man I wanted to be, but he also taught me that it's okay to have failed in life, and to get back up is more important than the failure.
He told me one of the biggest pieces of advice I've ever gotten doing this. I'm newly sober. I've been sober for 5 months now, so this is my first time trying to do this. And I thought I knew everything. I was the smartest guy in the room, but that's absolutely not true. And the biggest piece of advice Nick ever gave me was, why fight it? Why fight it? And the minute I stopped doing that and just kind of put the effort I put into fighting it, into focusing on my sobriety, everything changed.
And by the age of 32, I was a homeless heroin addict. I checked into this place, Gosnold, and I had been there a bunch of times, and every time I walked into a place, I wanted you to think I had the best life. Everything was great. Are you kidding me? Look how happy I am. And I sat down in a chair, and the lady Louisa, who was my counselor again, and who knew me well and had seen me a few times in the last 6 weeks, and I sat down with a big smile on my face, and she said, Nicholas, let's go over your information. And I'm like, here we go. Nicholas, you don't have a car. Nicholas, you don't have a cell phone. You don't have a job. the state has you listed as without residency. So she said, technically, you're 32 and you're homeless. How does that feel? And even though I didn't want her to think I heard what she was saying, it hit me a little bit. When I got the DUI, I think that it allowed me, oddly enough, it allowed me to keep drinking and drugging. Because I coached and I was involved in New Bedford public sports, when I went to the courthouse and I went to trial, I got slapped on the wrist. And it was no one's fault, obviously, but mine, you know. And I remember sitting in the probation, and Erie Contreras was my PO, and she was like, hey, we're gonna do the colors, and you're gonna have to come down and take urines. And then she got a phone call, and they were like, 1 month check-in's good, he's a good guy. And, you know, it kind of allowed me to use drugs for a few more years, if I'm being honest. You know, most people might get afraid, most people might change it up. For me, it was like, well, I'm not gonna get in trouble when I do this stuff. I always get off the hook somehow, so I guess I'm not that bad. I would always justify it in my brain to my advantage, or what I thought was the most comfortable or easiest for me. And something clicked inside of me, and I started to think about my mom. It was probably the first time in years I thought about anyone else besides myself. And I turned around after I sat down for a few minutes, and I walked into the Newport Creamery, and I asked the lady to use her phone. And I called my mother, and I said, come get me. And she said, Nicholas, I don't feel comfortable with you coming home. And I said, just give me till Tuesday. It was a Saturday afternoon. I went, I got a Suboxone, which blocks the withdrawals from opiates. And I was at home by myself. And I started to feel different emotions than I ever felt. One of the things that's special to me is like, so when our guests come down the driveway and I see them walking in, a lot of times my mom is no longer alive, and she did more for me than any person on this earth. So I see a kid coming with their mom beat up, scared, afraid, and then months later I get to see that same woman come down the driveway, hug their child, and get their child back. So being able to be a part of other people's lives in recovery, it's kind of what Alcoholics Anonymous has taught me, and the program of recovery has taught me. So I look at it like a blessing, but it's something that I don't get up and say I have to go to work. It's been a long road for me, but it's been a road that's been worth every step. I feel like God has put me here to do things and give me an opportunity to do things, and that's why I'm still standing upright.